Hey everyone, we are back with more discussion on the three threads, and I have Autumn with me today. And what Autumn is going to do, Autumn is going to take these three threads, this needle, thread it through the Bible. You've seen this illustration. I've talked about it in the past two videos. So, but she's going to set it up. So go ahead and do that. And I want to tell you some things about the three threads. You need to go back and see the previous videos to know what the red, the blue, and the green threads are all about. But I want to share with you that not everyone, not all Christians, not all churches, not all pastors, they don't all agree with this theology. It's sort of divided in this area. And I want to share with you why it's important. I think another video in the future will go deeper in, does this really matter? These three threads, they come from the Abraham covenant. And just a quick summary, the red thread is the kings that will come from the seed of Abraham. Jesus is the eventual king who will come and rule on earth and then eventually in heaven. The blue thread is this nation of people from Abraham that become the Jewish nation, the Israelites. And the green thread is the land that one day Jesus will rule as king over the nation of Israel in the land of current day Jerusalem and Israel, and then the nations, that's the rest of the non-Jews, the Gentiles, the nations will share in that blessing. So that's the three threads. So Autumn here has she has threaded the Bible with the red, blue, green thread so that it's continuous from front to back. Now, here's the thing. There are about three different views on this, these threads. Number one, there are people who believe that these covenants, the red, blue, green covenants, have already been fulfilled, and there's nothing that we're waiting on in the future. So that's one view, is that the threads have already been completed in terms of their fulfillment. The second view is really kind of a close cousin of the first. People who believe that these covenants are no longer valid, that God canceled these covenants, terminated them. Maybe you've heard the term replacement. Replacement theology says that the church replaces Israel, and therefore the church replaces the blue thread, and so it is not a continuous theme. And then the third theme, the third view, which is the one that I propose, the three thread view, is that these three themes are continuous from Genesis to Revelation, and we are still waiting for their fulfillment one day. So Autumn opened up the Bible. I want to show you what happens when you follow the threads. You read through the Bible and you see these themes unfold, and that's why I'm providing a document to you for you to see all these verses. But let's say that you did not believe the threads continue through the Bible. We have a problem. First thing we need to do is we recognize, okay, these threads do not continue, so we need to cut them somewhere. That's something that they would have to decide, where is it that the threads no longer apply. So you take out your scissors and you look for a place. You say, oh, well, here's where the threads were fulfilled, or here's where the threads discontinue because God replaced it. And you reach your scissors and you come in here and you try to cut it. Then you hold this for me because it's kind of hard. So, you know, when you cut the threads, you got to be careful because you might cut another thread. And of course, that's why this is hard. So there, I've cut, that's the green thread. I want to cut the blue thread. Well, you know what? So gosh, there we go. There. I cut the thread away. There. Now the thread's been cut, and guess what? Now the thread is not continuous, and it comes apart, and so the threads are no longer continuous themes in the Bible. And you may be thinking, well, Jeff, that's a crazy illustration. Let me tell you more practically what happens when you cut the threads. When you cut the threads, you come to passages like Ezekiel Chapter 40 through 48. Let me find it. Ezekiel 40 through 48. This is a section of scripture where Ezekiel gets a vision, and he sees the vision of a temple. It's believed to be the temple, the millennial temple that Jesus will one day be at in the future kingdom. And so according to the three threads, this is a big, big green thread. Ezekiel tells us all about the temple, and it talks about the the dimensions of the temple, talks about the gates and the courtyard, and it talks about the priesthood that the tribe of the nation of Israel is going to serve in this temple. This is a real temple that's not yet built. It has real dimensions. We've actually seen some designs of what this temple looks like when you blow it up to the specs that Ezekiel lays out. It's very real. There's a river that flows from the temple. So anyway, for the three-thread crew, we're part of the three-thread crew, we read Ezekiel 40 to 48 and we go, oh, this is talking about the future temple. But hold this here. If you believe that it doesn't mean that, then this is kind of what you have to do. You have to tear the pages out of the Bible. Did you know I was going to do that? No, you didn't know I was going to do that. That's a violent illustration to rip pages from the Bible, which is why we can only do this video once. But the idea is that if you don't believe the threads are continuous, then you start to have problems with texts in the Bible, and you say, well, it doesn't really mean what you think it means. I've talked to people about this, and I say, well, if you don't think the threads are continuous themes, what does Ezekiel 40 through 48 mean? And they'll say, well, we don't really know. It's just it's a spiritual teaching of something deeper, or they'll try to allegorize it, spiritualize it, or something different. Here's the problem. If you don't believe the continuity of the threads, you start to have to tear out scriptures along the way, because you say, well, that was fulfilled, or that doesn't apply, or this no longer applies, or this was canceled, or this was replaced by God, and you get this chopped up Bible. That's a problem. I want to talk more about this in the future because it's a really big deal. But I wanted you to see why the threads are so important, because they hold the Bible together. We'll get another Bible because this Bible now isn't complete and the threads are no longer going to hold. But I hope you see the point that these threads are really important, because they help us read through the Bible and understand it and stick with the core themes and know that we're still looking ahead for things to be fulfilled that God promised back in Genesis. Okay? I'll be back with more.